Now, let's get more into Chris Paul. There's one man that can provide the answers. The salty one, Adam Oslin, the Saltier, the host of the Clipper pregame, halftime, and postgame shows, plus his own YouTube show. Adam, welcome to the show today.
This is going to be fun. Hey, it's good to be here, guys. What's up?
All right. You want to just get to it? Go ahead.
Double A. Come on.
What do you mean, go ahead? I'm not going to get a question, a prompt?
Don't you know what happened? We sat here and speculated for 20 minutes.
Just go, Adam. Go. What are you talking about?
What do you think happened?
What do I think? I'll tell you what I think. I think Chris Paul became more increasingly frustrated. I think Chris Paul has always operated under one premise, a way to get things done, and he has been successful at it. I think there is a growing frustration with this being his last year, the frustration mounting, that he can't go out like this. I think he tried to resort back to things that he believed worked in the past, and they probably did. But this is a different group at a different time, and it didn't work. And when push came to shove, it just wasn't going to happen. And I told him to go home. That's what I think.
Well, what do you need me for then, Fred? Why am I here?
You mean I got it right? This is great.
I think for the most part, his personality can be grating on guys. This is what happens. It's not like he hasn't left other spots and other players haven't been upset. I love CP3. It's complicated because he is likely the franchise GOAT. This is everybody's favorite player in Clippers franchise history. And to see this happen during his farewell tour, when they brought him back and there were all these good vibes, and it just seemed like, oh, this is going to be such a great last season for him to go out this way, back with the Clippers, and then they'll retire his jersey at Intuit Dome the next season. And now for this to happen, where there's a strained relationship, you would imagine, behind the scenes, it's highly disappointing. But I will say this, for everyone, like, how could this happen? How could the Clippers do him like this? Do you think the Clippers were not aware of the blowback that could be coming from this? That the reaction that fans wouldn't be upset? They had to weigh all of that, and they still felt like it had to be done. I mean, that tells you how bad things must have been behind the scenes. It wasn't one conversation with Lawrence Frank and people. It was multiple. There's a report from Sweet Lou Williams saying that at one point, Chris Paul apologized to the team. So if he's apologizing and knowing he's in the wrong for going too far with his criticism that obviously wasn't very productive or helpful, then what does that tell you? It sucks. It doesn't always work out the way you want it to, especially nothing ends well unless it ends badly. A guy coming back at the end of his career, it's really, really disappointing and shocking to see it happen the way it did. But I understand how it could get to this point. I think that's why there was a lot of hesitation with bringing him back, I think, this last off season, because we wondered, it's a slam dunk deal, so to speak. How are you not going to bring back CP3? And the negotiation process seemed to take a very long time. And then when Lawrence Frank talked about him returning, he was very specific about his role as a reserve guard on this team. And they try to make it abundantly clear that you are a role player, obviously. You're coming off the bench, and we don't know how many minutes there are going to be. They tried to do everything they could to avoid a situation like this. But I think what nobody could plan for is just the Clippers being this bad, which brought out maybe the worst version of CP3 in terms of just how critical he can be. And, he's a self-proclaimed a-hole. Like, he wears it like a badge of honor, and we love him for it. Like you said, Fred, just the wrong place, wrong time to be the full version of CP3 when on the court, he's obviously not the same guy. And in that locker room with a bunch of vets and not young guys, it's not like, hey, I need to teach you guys how to win. I need to be this type of leader. It obviously, the message was not working in this particular locker room because they were only getting worse.
Adam. Hey, what about the relationship between him and Ty Lue? Has it been, were they tight at one point, or was it strained before he got here? How did it get so bad, Adam?
My understanding is they were good because Coach Lue was on the staff, I think, in his last season at least, or his last couple of years with the Clippers the first time around. His last season was the 2016-2017 season before he came back, and I think they had a really good relationship. 2 point guards, guys that understand each other. Coach Lue's been very good with those guys typically. And then that report came out, and I don't know what's true and whose version and what's being spun right now, but it sounded like maybe they hadn't talked in 2 weeks. Then he was trying to get a meeting with Coach Lue, and Coach Lue wasn't granting him that. So it sounded like it was just nasty. And Coach Lue last night, he expressed that he feels bad for how this went. It was a bad fit. Doesn't want to see Chris go out like this. We don't know if he'll end up getting traded because he can't be traded till December 15th because he was signed this past summer. If he's waived, the contract's fully guaranteed for about $3.5 million. Does he end up going somewhere else? Right now, he is still technically a Clipper. He just has been sent home. But yes, I think it was just a really difficult situation because of all the losing. And CP3, look, he's one of those old school guys. He's a hard ass, and God bless him for it. But I don't think the critique was well taken by him in this particular locker room.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I know one way to do this. It works. We're losing. It's my final year. I'm not going to sit through this, so I'm going to have to assert myself.
Well, guys, it's not like we didn't hear about all this stuff after the Lob City days were over, that locker room was miserable and it wasn't exactly harmonious. I'm glad that he's putting the picture out now on Instagram with him doing a Zoom call with DJ and Blake Griffin, but it was like, yeah, I wish we were that cool when they were actually playing next to one another in that locker room, because we heard all those stories too. And look, obviously his leadership style can work. It has worked. It wasn't working in this particular locker room. That's it.
Yeah. You mentioned, the GOAT of the franchise, the face of this franchise and most success of this franchise, and Chris Paul. At the end of the day, does this get fixed?
I don't know. And a lot of people last night were like, well, the Clippers won the same day they let go of CP3. I don't think this causation correlation conversation needs to happen. I don't think it's that simple. Lawrence Frank made it clear he's not the scapegoat for what's happening this season, and he's not. He's not the reason that they were 5-16. He wasn't even playing that much. Were his tactics helping necessarily the mood of the locker room? Probably not. But he's not the reason. It's not his fault, and therefore I don't put a lot of stock into they won last night because the dark cloud is gone from the team or anything like that. They beat an Atlanta Hawks team that didn't have their two best players in Jalen Johnson and Trae Young. Now, to be fair, they had been losing to a lot of players that were to a lot of teams that were missing some of their best players before this. The Clippers were down that bad where they lost to a depleted Mavericks team and a Memphis Grizzlies team this past weekend at home. And I will say the one thing that was different last night, without a doubt, was their collective effort for 48 minutes. They were playing much harder out there. I am not trying to put that on CP3. I would actually go back to Monday night and the decision Coach Lue made when they got down by 29 early in the third quarter, and by early, I mean a minute and a half into that game in Miami, where Coach Lue said enough is enough. If you're not playing hard out there, I'm pulling everybody. And he pulled all the starters. That, to me, might have been the difference in what we saw last night in Atlanta. The fact that he benched all the starters for the first time because they weren't given a good amount of effort out there. And then when they came back in that game against the Miami Heat, they were down by as many as 38, but they started playing harder. And they actually got it to within 12. So if there's a difference or some type of connection here with how they looked last night, I'm going to put more into that, the stock there of just Coach Lue finally benching everyone and pushing that button.
I got to be honest with you. That he wasn't there last night might have made a slight difference. Honestly, it
could be a factor.
Right. But, no.
The factor.
Here's what I'll say. Post game, right off the court, Kobe Sanders, their young rookie, is talking with Carlo Jimenez on the radio, and he talked about how the leadership in the locker room was strong today, and all the guys said, we got to block out the outside noise. And they came in with the right mindset. I don't think that was a shot at CP3. It just, they knew they were in a whirlwind the last 24 hours, and they had to find a way to focus, and they did.
Yeah, that was it. No, he's not the problem when you're 5-16. That's not the problem.
He's not playing enough to be the problem.
Yeah. Right.
I just don't think it helped. But, guys, I got to say this. I've been with the organization for almost 10 years now, and I'm not an expert on much. But if I know anything, it is the Clippers. It's the Clippers fan base. It's Clipper Nation. And I've never seen it more divided than it is right now. And that's pretty upsetting, too, because of CP3 being sent home like this, but because of all the losing going on and a lot of people being upset with Lawrence Frank, even though we all thought he made great moves this offseason, they haven't worked out. A lot of people being upset with Coach Lue. And being 6-16, nobody had that on their bingo card or however you want to put it heading into this season. It has been disappointing. It has been embarrassing. And Clippers fans, I've never seen them like this before, where they're in this much of an uproar. And rightfully so. I get it. It's concerning, though. They have to win. They have to win games right now. The only way to cure any of this stuff is just to go out there and play much harder because, yes, they've had some injuries. Nobody cares. They've been injured before and won games. That is not an excuse for how bad they've been so far this season. So I really do hope this can be a turning point, just winning one game after losing 5 in a row and 14 of their last 16, just finally winning a game and getting somewhat of the 800-pound gorilla off their back. We'll see if that releases some of the pressure and they play much better as they're in Memphis tomorrow night.
All right. Salty, appreciate you hanging out. Thanks for the insight.
Love it.
All right, love y'all.